All right, folks. Time for the game of Day 9 versus Bluewolf. So this map is going to be Ashrigo, a bit of an unusual map that was also a Blizzard ladder map at the time. Day 9 will be playing under his Smurf nickname at the time, SleepingDrone, as I'll be playing under my Smurf nickname, UJ Knight. And without further ado, I'll go ahead and start up this game 13. So at the top, the yellow Zerg is Day 9. You can see here from his info, he was second place at WCG USA 2004, first place at WCG USA 2005, has an average APM of 165, and is playing this particular game with an APM of 140. But it is 36% redundant, so its EAPM, effective APM, is only 90. Because again, Tasteless and him were trying to build up their speed at this time and trying to do their ABCs, always be clicking, always be moving their mouse and their hotkeys to try to get that speed up. So even when they weren't able to use it yet, they're just trying to get into the habit of always being in motion. And you can see an image of Day 9 from WCG USA 2005, and that's the Zerg player here. And also here's him in the background from WCG 2003 on the left side, observing Assem versus Hobbs. And then here's, of course, is Day 9 and Tasteless together at WCG 2005. Quite a team of brothers there. So that was Day 9, and then you have your Protoss player here, which is myself. Much more of an intermediate American player at the time. I ended up placing but never really winning anything in the StarCraft scene. Generally, many players stepping stones to greatness. So in other words, if you could consistently beat me, or if you made it to rounds beyond me, it generally meant that you were going to do great things in the tournament, as I was good but not good enough to be top level, and you beating me consistently generally meant that you had reached the top level of the North American StarCraft scene. I had placed in a lot of older tournaments, so 4th place in I2E2 New York, which was before replays, or 10th place in the CompUSA Million Man LAN, which was an event held after this ladder. As I said, a mediocre player, average APM of only 119. In this game, I'm playing with an APM of 114. That's that, and for what I looked like at the Million Man LAN time frame, that was myself during that time. So that 119 APM, generally a little bit low end, but again, most American players or international players generally ranging between 100 to 200 APM, the highest of the high generally being around 180 to 190. Koreans at this time around 200 to 300 APM. So for openings, it looks like Day 9 has gone a hatchery first, followed up by a spawning pool, no gas yet. For myself on this weird map, which I'll just go ahead and show the entire thing of for those who aren't familiar with it. I am going with a single gate, followed by a refinery, and building out a zealot. You can see here that the map has a natural entrance ramp. But then beyond that, you have your natural expansion, followed by another ramp, followed by a long path that goes across, followed by the ramp into their expansion, followed by their main base. So a lot of ramps in this map. And a long walk time, so it's hard to do early aggression on it. So with the winding path you have to go through, not only is it hard to do aggression, but you also have a high level of ability to defend because of the fact there are so many different ramp choke points that you can block off and defend. So it looks like he is building a Zerg Sunken Colony, though, to be extra safe, along with some Zealots. I guess he thought I might be trying some type of aggression, even though I'm not. My opening in this match is actually going to be a Protoss Stargate. And this may seem a bit of a weird choice. Why go single base Protoss Stargate? Well, there was no early expansion strats for Protoss that were in existence yet. None of the ones that have been tried in the past had all failed, and we'd all given up on trying to do an early expansion as Protoss. So while that eventually did come to fruition, didn't exist yet. And then the Protoss Stargate is basically just so I can get scouting information. So I build the the first Corsair, the Corsair not only can kill overlords, but tells me what he's up to in his main base. And it also encourages him not to go mutas. By encouraging him not to go mutas, I can then focus on just countering a ground army. And it will also likely get a few overlords, because this is such a large map. It's likely sent his overlords in various different scouting positions. And I can likely go ahead and pick off some overlords with my Corsairs that are in areas that his defenses can't reach. So it looks like he's going Lair, which is almost done, and a Hydralisk Den, so it looks like he will be going Lurkers this game. Would be my guess. And his Zerglings, after seeing my ramp, has decided they don't want a piece of that, so they're going to head back home. And again, you do have these overlords being spread out among the map, and that's part of the reason why you can build these Corsairs early on. It does look like I'm actually not even scouting right away with it, so I'm guessing that my idea is to instead use multiple Corsairs to try to supply cap him, surprise him with the air superiority to kill as many overlords as possible. And here goes the two together. And it looks like, yep, here comes the Lurker being researched right now at his base, just like I anticipated. You'll also notice that the expansion, while it is easy to take and highly defensible, it only has 4 mineral patches. So it mostly just gives you gas. You don't get a whole lot of minerals in terms of being able to do Hydras or Zerglings from this expansion base. So Outer Overlord being attacked and being taken down. No additional Corsairs are following this. Again, this is just to kill Overlords and discourage him from ever thinking about mutas, because it puts it into the Zerg player's head that you have Corsairs and they just don't want to go mutas then. And therefore you can focus on Reavers, which is what I assume I will follow up with relatively shortly if I'm not already. I'm assuming that's going to be right here. No? Yep, robotics facility. So these Corsairs are just going to fly around, try to pick up as many Overlords as they can, because there's 2 of them, I can dance them around. They do a decent job of taking them down, shooting decent DPS against them. So even though this Hydra is attacking, I'm just ignoring it at the moment, and do lose 1, but do take out the Overlord. And I do also know from the scouting Corsair that he has gone for a Lair and a Zerg or Hydralisk Den, so I know that he has Lurkers, and I know I need to be ready for that. So that's also why I think I'm building this photon cannon here, is just to give me additional assurance against a possible Lurker attack. And here comes the initial Lurkers being morphed into Lurkers themselves. He's going to go ahead and scout out these lings, I think. Not designed to do any damage, just go ahead, let them know what's out there, and make sure that there's nothing that's going to detect these Lurkers as they head toward my base. This Corsair, meanwhile, is just on a mission trying to find Overlords. Its job in life is now to scout and find Overlords to kill. So this army here is just outside my natural. Again, a lot of choke points. It's very hard to attack into an angle that you're not going to be able to see or be able to defend against. And up comes the Lurkers. I have no detection at this point. I think that the observatory is likely building, or just built. So Observer Observer is being built. So basically the goal is going to be to force these Lurkers to step forward and step back, step forward and step back. Cancel out that, but force him to micro slowly forward. Try to buy time for that Observer to come out. Potentially do some attacking if he doesn't bore them right away. A little bit of a misplay by him, likely trying to do macro at that time, as we had difficulties microing and macroing at the same time right now. It does look like that Lurker will get set, but will get destroyed. And there's the Observer. The Observer is out on the field, and these Lurkers are not going to be nearly effective anymore. For any follow-ups, he does have an evolution chamber. I guess that was just in case. Oh, going for melee upgrade. And a second Hydralisk then. That's kind of weird. So day 9, I'm going to go ahead and put up his player card again. It has the yellow Zerg here, playing under his nickname SleepingDrone. Very top level player, had a strong song in WCUSA 2001 and would go on to be a top player in many different WCGs after that. Against myself. which you can see there, a much more mid-tier level player, generally placed in American events at this time period. Just a competitor who enjoyed the game and just fell in love with StarCraft. So you can see here that I've moved my army forward. I do have an observer to detect for lurkers. I'm actually going to use the fact that this map has this kind of weird ramp up here and use the Dragoon range to stop him from mining. This may seem weird, but like the fact of the matter is that like this is a much smaller choke point. So if he tries to attack me from here, I can move forward and kind of have a much bigger conclave. And if I were to attack here, he'd have the larger conclave. So by attacking from here, it's actually better for me to stop his mining at his expansion. The disadvantage is that, of course, I don't have forces at my main, so it looks like Day 9 is going to smartly go for a counterattack. Just ignore the forces there, not take the bad engagement, not take the bait that I've laid out, but instead take a different option to him, make a new option happen. So amazingly I have here is looks like 2 Dragoons, a few Dragoons in the base to prevent against potential drops, and a few photon cannons. Otherwise, just preventing him from mining his expansion. And here comes the attack. It doesn't look like there's going to be enough here to hold. Another town goes down. 5 Dragoons against a bunch of Zerglings. The Protoss Nexus at 500 HP, 400 HP, 300 HP, 200 HP, 100 HP, 0 HP. Goodbye, Nexus. And it looks like that Hydraulics will be cleaned up. The Nexus was taken out, though. So basically traded the ability to mine his expansion for mine, and he's also doing something else that's quite smart now. He's going for a mutalist switch. So as I mentioned before, I built those early Corsairs, but never really built anymore. It's generally designed at this point in time to get the Zerg into a mindset of not going mutas. Because I don't really have a good counter other than the building more Corsairs, which I don't know to do yet. But because of the fact that he's now building mutas on the sly, when these mutas come in, I'm not going to have a real counter or a real army to stand up against them. So these mutas are going to basically go, now that my expansion base has basically been destroyed, try to do damage to my main base here. A single photon tower does dissuade him, which I don't understand why. I think he could have just ignored that. And the Dragoons do come up to chase them away. A lot of free shots as he tries to fly away down the middle of the map. More damage than he needed to take there. He will pick off a Slag Ring Dragoon. And more mutas are coming to join their brethren. Going for that critical mass. You notice there isn't any muta stacking at this point. We didn't know how to do that yet. So it's basically just attacking on the move. It's basically the best that we could do with our muta micro. This single Dragoon has gotten 3 kills, probably drones, and will be finished off with these mutas here that have reinforced the position. Day 9's getting together quite a force here. Stargate's still not being used by myself, except for, oh, there it goes. So 2 Corsairs out, trying to get an army of these. If you have enough of them, the splash damage will neutralize those mutas, but up until then, I don't really have a good way of countering a large number of these things. And for supply count, it is worth noting that I am height of supply, but again, not all of it is in the correct unit type just yet. Muta's being caught by a bunch of Dragoons. It looks like this is going to be a pretty close battle. There is the advantage that the Dragoons are upgraded 1-1 compared to the 0-0 of the Mutalings. Mutalisk? Yes, Mutalisk. And beyond that, things are kind of starting to, we're settling down. It looks like I am pushing out. I feel like I have the advantage. I am taking my army and going to head across the map now, marching across like a death swarm. Let's see if he has here to defend. Mostly just the defensive position of Sunken Colonies, Zerglings, and Hydralisk at the moment. So the long winding road across. This drone likely going out to expand, not going to be able to expand. This Zealot was out searching for an expansion. It was quite surprised not to find one. And it's looking like I am indeed going to attack into this defensive position of his, giving him the better concave. Thanks for the person who pointed that out. Will try to do my best here, but his defensive position is very good because of the fact you notice that some of the Dragoons in the back are not as effective initially, and just the higher surface area is allowing him to push back this attack very efficiently. So, this looks like he basically evened up a lot of the game in some areas there. I do have the supply count advantage, still equal bases. And I'm going to go back to what worked last time. It's basically continue to harass the mineral line from behind the area here while holding his ramp now. So basically I am going to harass the mineral line and prevent anything from coming around to stop the Dragoons that are attacking from up here. But these lurkers do have enough range to push them back a little bit. Mutas are coming back. We'll clean up this annoying harassment, but he did lose a lot of drones. He didn't micro those back. Keep them alive. Keeping your units alive, of course, very important regardless of what time you're playing StarCraft, if it was 15 years ago or today. So going to try to pick up these lurkers using the vision of the Protoss Observer here, and just try to continue to hold, prevent him from mining from this expansion base. Meanwhile, there is some mutas in the back killing off the Corsairs, and it does look like this Mutalisk army has been cut down a lot, but does have the mobility and the fact that most of my units are there. But not quite enough of them have been dedicated to that push that I can't defend. So this defense here has nothing defending the probe line, so it looks like these probes are fair game for these Mutalisks once this Corsair is defeated. And as you can see, Corsairs do quite well against Mutalisks, so that's quite good for me. So the game is slowing down a bit and wrapping up. He's still unable to mine from his expansion despite a significant defensive position. These Mutalisks will try to make that mining possible, and they will likely succeed, but the damage has been done. The Protoss will soon have more bases than the Zerg does. And very, very soon, I'm assuming that a combined push will be coming down on the Zerg, since the Zerg never took another expansion. He just doesn't have the units, the resources to be able to continue this game for much longer. So while this thing wraps down, as he tries to do a final push against the expansion here, catching some probes on their main and transfer to it, go ahead and reintroduce the players again. You have Day 9 playing as the Zerg, top level American player. WCG 2001 made it very far in the brackets. Somebody who was very solid, was developing very quickly in the scene, and a player who overall was always a threat in any tournament that anybody played against them in. Images from 2005 or him watching the WCG 2003. Against myself, a mid-tier player, on this ladder as we were playing in the CompUSA $20,000 tournament, trying to qualify top 64 in that ladder to get a piece of that prize money in the bracket stage. And this was happening between February and April of 2002. So it looks like I decided to go back to the tried and true harassment of his mining drones again. Basically going to the same well over and over again. Same strategy. And Day 9 has taken a third base finally. So 19 minutes, 19:30 for Zerg third base. Quite a good timing. Don't recommend you do that nowadays, but again, the games weren't quite as expansion or macro oriented as they were just even a few years from this time period. I think part of the reason may also just be because we didn't have the APM to keep up with a large amount of production facilities. Even most players generally hovering in the 100 to 200 range, with people reaching higher than that only in Korea at this point in time. So things have slowed down. It looks like Day 9's main is out. He's going for Zerg Greater Spire. So it looks like his last play may be trying to turn these Mutalisks into some Guardians, and hoping that I don't have any way to counteract those Guardians. He does have, of course, a mining base now that he's given up on his natural. And it looks like he's going to go in for one last attempt at coming back into this game with this Greater Spire Prey, which is not a bad idea, actually. As I feel fairly confident in my army size and the state of the game right now, I'm not actually continuing to build those Corsairs anymore. So it could be possible that with the using the Cliffs and those Guardians to make something happen. So Dragoons are streaming in to check for bases, and I don't know if I've seen this one down here already. I might have. But they're going to find the space very soon, the last one of Day 9's mineral income source. Or maybe not. I'm assuming I must have, considering the fact that I am consolidating my units and being very cautious about attacking into it. So the Guardians are morphing. Guardians are out. Also one Devourer. That's what that is. Devourer, okay. So this thing is going to go ahead and hit that base while I finish off Day 9's last mining base. So the question is, can two Guardians destroy a Protoss army? We're about to find out. So some probes are going down. These Guardians should take down this Nexus in about 10 minutes. Food count is 26 to 129. Nexus is still being pounded slowly. And it looks like here comes in the Corsairs. The Corsairs are not likely to be enough to stop this. Corsairs will go down. But some Dragoons are coming around to cut off the Guardians from the other side. And that's it. GG, Day 9 again, no text being saved in these replays for 1.09. So we were quite mannered to each other, so GGs would have been exchanged.